Oh, hi there. I was just playing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon and dying to Groudon for the upteenth time. And it's got me thinking, what if there was an absolute definitive way of finding out what Pokemon you are? Well, let's figure that out together then, shall we? Okay, so this is a couple of months after recording that. I had this whole thing explaining my quiz and the whys and the ideas around it, and when I finally got around to editing it, not due to laziness, but stuff's been crazy lately, it was a lot of nonsense. But there was this funny joke, because most of you are going to choose one of your favorites, like this Germa clip.
I would be a wolf-lion hybrid mix. King of the jungle.
So, let me summarize my BS. Basically, personality is another way of describing your soul, all your jiggly bits and stuff. But the problem is, the words humanity has created are unable to capture that essence. There are no words invented that can encompass the whole of what you are. You are what you do, what you think, what you're made of, what you choose to be, and it is shifting and changing every day as you decide to be the person you will be today and for all days to come. And you know, I don't think humanity can be split up into dichotomies like extrovert or introvert or thinking or feeling. It's not a controversial statement that Myer-Briggs' 16 characteristics can't describe humanity accurately. But what about over 900? But golly, you'd have to make a personality test that's got a wide range of results and release a Pokemon somehow. That's what I did. For months. Probably even years if I look at the folder where the first dates I have recorded of this are. The result is to use the Big 5 test. Get your percentages and compare them to this chart here, get your types, and your stats. It's not perfect. There's arguments to be made that the traits I've ascribed to stats could be for other stats, and the fact that I'm using one quiz to derive two aspects of Pokemon, causing unintentional correlation between certain types and stat distributions. So, I've developed two other ways to find Pokemon using Myer-Briggs and Enneagram, even though they aren't really all that scientifically, good. I compiled several fan interpretations, and there was not a lot of consensus, except for Psychic. Everyone knew exactly what kind of bitch Psychic was. Heck, I even made a whole system to find your stats based on taste preference, like how the game does. It was terrible! I proclaimed that mint was a spice! But the only quiz I could find that could quantify taste preference, that was able to actually work for me, was this one on a cheese site. What is your fascination with figs? No shit, my preferred flavor is cheese? Cheese webbed site? Also, it's useless, because there's no numbers. Look, there's not a lot of science in this. I mean, there is, but honestly it feels like we're all just giving names to the shadows on the cave wall, unable to look at our own reflection to know what we actually look like. With all that said, this should be treated as a fun little game thing. Something you'd take with your friends when they smack your little gremlin hands from thinking you're cool enough to be Mewtwo. Something not to be taken seriously, and definitely not something to judge anyone's character on. Looking at you, astrology folks. I swear to God, the next person who says anything remotely similar to, "Oh, you're an Aries, of course you'd be like that and such, I'm gonna dropkick you back into Homestuck. So, how's this work? You take this Big 5 quiz because it gives you a score percentile, and that's more useful because it normalizes the distribution and allows for a wider range of results. And also take a Myer-Briggs and an Enneagram test. If any of them ask you to pay any real money, lightly tell them to eat pant, and then continue using it for free. Now that you've gotten your results, take a look-see at this chart. And using your answers from this Google poll, I have ordered the types from least to most for certain traits. Using your percentage for each trait, find that number along these number lines to get that type, and then choose the two types before and after your number, and then you get a whole list of 15 types. Then of those 15 types, choose up to 4 that come up the most. And then add your Myer-Briggs and Enneagram types to that list. For stats, we will also be using the big 5 percentage scores. We will use your percentage to multiply by a base stat that I found by looking at stat distributions minus any outliers, and then attribute each stat to a trait. Attack is agreeableness, multiply that by 135 to get your attack stat. Defense is emotional stability, so multiply that by 150. Special attack will be openness, so multiply your percentage by 125. Special defense is conscientiousness, so multiply your percentage by 110. And then speed is extroversion, so multiply your percentage by 115 to get that final stat. So now that you have your types and your stats, we'll go to vcoon.com and go to their advanced search. You can also do this at maryland.com for the Sword and Shield Pokedex. Put in your list of types, then go to search by stat, and then put in your stats with a range of about 30. And then hit search. Now you may not come up with that many Pokemon. That's fine. Either increase the stat search range, or add another type that has come up a lot during your quiz taking, or remove a stat that's closest to about 70, which is the average stat number for any Pokemon. And then fiddle around until you get a list of 5 to 10-ish Pokemon, and then choose your favorite. And there you go, a method that you can use to find a Pokemon that best represents you. You can continue to fiddle around with the search input slightly to get yourself different results and fill up a whole team of Pokemon that represent you. If you do that, that'll give you 644 quadrillion options for a fully customized Pokemon personality team. But that's only a snapshot of who you are right now, and using quizzes that may not be accurate in a couple of years. And some quizzes whose science is dubious at best. Chances are, if Arceus themselves were to come down here and take a look at my work, they'd go, and then also go, good enough. And that's good enough for me. So go ahead and share your results in the comments. I'll also be including written instructions in the video description. And remember, this isn't a permanent state. You will change over time, and I hope it's for the better. That's a nice thing about the Big 5 quiz. It allows for growth. I hope you become more agreeable and more open and more thoughtful and more emotionally stable as time goes on. And maybe one day, you will be cool enough to be Mewtwo. Godspeed, goddamn furry. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to support me, please consider subscribing here and following me on Twitter. It helps me out a whole bunch. I want to especially thank Chris and Kyle for their continued support. If you want to see your name here in the credits like you see here, head on over to patreon.com/Cosmine and take a look at all the tiers available. Thank you!